Well, welcome back to another episode of Buffalo Happy Hour. I have a lot of stuff in front of me right now, and I don't really know what I'm doing. You like my new travel mug here?
Yeah, was it a gift or?
No, I bought it when I went to Charleston, which we'll talk about, because I didn't bring my other mammoth of a mug with me, which is good because I needed a new one anyway. We'll talk about it. What's up, everybody? Thank you very much for joining today's episode. Today is episode 136. 7? Something like that? I don't know, something like that. But thank you very much for joining. Mike, say the word of a sponsor.
Queen City Creative Works, thanks. Addie's logo, suck. High Peaks, nice to work. Queen City's a family-owned and operated married couple-ran establishment where they make branded items with our logo on it. So feel free to go to queencitycreativeworks.com, scroll down to Buffalo Happy Hour Shop Now, select it, and then you can pick a bottle opener speed loader made out of metal, wrapped in silicone, branded on both sides. Nice and sturdy. Black slate round coasters with our logo burned into them, which is amazing. And water bottles with our logo etched into it. So head on over to Queen City, support another local small business as well as us, and they can ship it to you no matter where you are in the country. High Peaks, if you are interested in increasing your marketing value for your establishment/business, feel free to bring them in because they can do first-person drone footage of your business to help take your marketing to another level. In that, you can get a really incredible still shots while they do their first-person drone montages, and definitely take a look at their website, highpeaksimagery.com, to ensure that you are maximizing your marketing budget. Addie's, thanks for your logo. Make sure you go to Addie's for all your liquor needs and wine needs. They have a in-house wine sommelier, knowledgeable staff, and their app. So if you want to download their app, Addie's app on fine wine and spirits, on the Apple App Store and Google Playground Play Store, if you are within the state of New York, they can then ship you whatever you want. So,
Stirring coffee without a stirrer has to be one of the most challenging things I think I've ever done in my life.
yeah, well, it's nice when you put the lid back on and then you can just kind of not be so ginger about
There's
it.
still ginger. Let's not bring my sister into this.
Autumn leaf is fine.
Let's do a little bit more. So this is an early morning record sesh, it is 8 o'clock, and we just did 2 Wednesday whiskey reviews, so if you are interested in that, they will be coming up real shortly, or they already happened, one of the two. I don't know, backlog, crushed it. We did Cooperstown football edition. Don't know if there's a specific, what do you call it? Canton edition. Nailed it. And then we also did Ballatin chocolate peanut butter whiskey cream, which is what is in our coffee right now, because we have many issues we're not diving into on this podcast. But that's why I'm stirring, because I don't normally have cream with my coffee, and today's a good chance to do it.
Diving into today's useless fact. In the inaugural heat on June 4th, 1950, driver Vidi Cothran was running third on the last lap when his carburetor linkage fell off. Vetti reached through the windshield and held the carburetor open with one hand, stirred with the other, and finished in third place.
Oh, steered with the other.
Yeah, what did I say?
I thought you said stirred, like stirring coffee. I'm like, wow, this dude is super impressive.
I might have, but no, he steered with the other hand.
So he held the linkage of his carburetor with one hand?
Yeah, to hold it wide open.
Jesus.
And then steered with the other, while reaching through the windshield, and then steered with the other hand, and then finished the race on the last lap in third place. Savage.
Would you do that? Have you ever tried, like, if you're driving in the wintertime and you have too much ice on your windshield wiper, have you ever tried, like, staka?
Oh, that's
Staka.
Yeah. You're not from Buffalo if you haven't done that.
Yeah, but, like, even that, it's kind of like, okay, I got to time this right. Oh, bam! And then I feel like I'm always going to break my windshield when I do that.
Why?
I don't know.
No.
Because you're...
Full send. It's tempered glass. It's fine.
But can you imagine reaching through your windshield to hold open something on your carburetor?
In a race, a professional race. That's wild.
Interesting.
Yeah. No doubt.
I love that, though.
So, weekly recap. You left me.
It's been a while.
I was depressed.
It's been a while since we've recorded. It's been about like 2 weeks, right?
Sad
More
times.
than that, right?
Sad times.
Yeah.
Why'd you leave?
Charleston. Whoa. A little clippy there, huh? Let's try this again. Charleston. There we go. I don't know why I say it like that. But, yeah, I went to Charleston, South Carolina with my lovely fiance, Gina. It was kind of a spur-of-the-moment getaway. We both felt like, you know what? Seasonal depression may be a real thing because it snowed since friggin' I was born, and I needed to go somewhere warm. So, bless you. I know you're allergic to bad stories, but I'm telling it anyway. So we just decided we might as well go somewhere so we can get some vitamin D. All right, I'm done with the story. Bye, Mike. You okay?
Rona.
So we decided might as well go down to Charleston because it's a historic city. There's a lot of history in Charleston. Do you
There
know?
is.
You know about it?
A lot of war history.
A lot of war history.
That's
and
right.
It was cool to go down there to see as much as we possibly can. We're very much into that being our vacation. I mean, we tried to go to Hilton Head once, and we sat on the beach for 2 days, and we're like, I'm so bored because you can only stare at water so much. And to me, that's just not exciting. So we went down there to explore the city of Charleston. It's one of the first, like, conglomerates of people in the area in the States before, obviously, we became the States. And it was cool to see the history around, like, where they set up for battles. And, like, this building, there were cannons here, here, and here to fight off the French, the pirates, and the Spanish. And it was just super cool to, like, basically put yourself back in that time period and be like, you can look at the ocean and where everything would be coming together. Because Charleston, the city of Charleston is kind of like it's not a peninsula, but it kind of is because it wraps around, but there's still land on the outside, but there's like a port to come into Charleston. It's into the United States, but it's still surrounded by water for the most part. So it's cool to stand in the spot where they were and look out over this view of these ships potentially coming in and be like, this is where we fought. That's really sweet. We went to some random places. We didn't plan anything, which is kind of also our thing, but it shouldn't be because when you don't plan things, you miss stuff. But when you do plan things, you also miss stuff because they're not walking aimlessly around. So we were on Google Maps one day, the first day that we were there, and we're looking for places to eat. And I zoom out, and then this word comes up, and it says dungeon. And Gina's like, oh, let's go see that. I'm like, I don't even know if you can. Like, this might be someone's house. I don't know. So we Googled it, and it was slave dungeons back in the day. And basically rebels of the cause back in the day where they would just put them in this dungeon underneath this building. And it was sweet because we just did a tour of the whole dungeon. And it was just so random and impulsive. So that was pretty sweet. The weather was beautiful there. It was like 80s every single day. Nice breeze. We went to the beach one day just to kind of like walk around and kind of get some sun. But then after 2 hours, I'm like, I'm done with this. So I went back. But what else did we do? We were walking down the street. This was kind of a feel-good story. We were walking down the street, and this one kid, he looked like he was on drugs. And there was this other person from USPS coming down the street, too. And she's like, oh, Jimmy. And he turns around, and it was his teacher back in middle school. And we're like walking as they're walking, so we're hearing the whole conversation. And she's like, what are you doing here? Are you on spring break? And he goes, oh, I dropped out of high school. And she's like, what are you doing now? And he's like, I work at the smoke shop. And then he kind of had this like, I'm anxious and I don't like want to talk about this because I'm not proud of myself. And then she's like, well, why don't you come work with us? And the kid's face like lit up. And then he went over and he grabbed her phone number, and now he's going to be working for the USPS. Just like that. See, drop out of school. It'll help. It's kind of cool, though.
Was he sober?
Yeah.
Is he going to pass the drug test?
Probably not.
It's a federal employee.
Yeah, I know. But that was still like a cool conversation to see. Everybody there, it was a very interesting group of people that lived and vacationed there. It's a very old historic town, but with a new
Vibe.
population, yeah, which was sweet. It kind of reminds me a lot. I've never even been there, but it's my perception of what clean New Orleans would be like.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sweet. I mean, they have the French Quarter. They have all this stuff. We were walking around. The city is extremely walkable. If any of you that are listening to this are into history and walking everywhere, Charleston is your place. I mean, you can walk from one end of the city to the other without, one, breaking a sweat because it's a relatively condensed city, but two, without being scared whatsoever. There's no bad parts of the city. There was one where we started walking and we're like, maybe we should turn around because we were walking towards an abandoned jail, I think it was. So that probably was our first clue that maybe we shouldn't be doing this walk. But outside of that, I mean, there wasn't anything to be concerned about. That was just a very friendly and beautiful city. All the houses were like millions of dollars. They're
Yellow
old,
and pink.
Yeah, just old, I mean, plantation houses basically. But they took the plantation houses that, like the style of it, and put it into a city. So it's interesting because you're walking down the street and you see a porch, but the porch has a front door to it. Like their side yard, their porch looks over and is all open, but they have a front door because that's how you get into the house. So like you walk through the porch, like super old school plantation homes. And it was just so cool to see. I just can't imagine how like expensive it would be there. But yeah, there was this place called Rainbow Row that it was all different color houses. It's super sweet. And this was kind of funny too. So we were walking, we have our Fitbits and our Galaxy Watches and all that stuff. So Gina wore hers the first day. She didn't do anything, like we just walked, whatever, registered her normal, didn't register any peak zones or whatever. Her heart rate was normal. And then the next 2 days, she didn't have it on and she put it in her purse. And we walked by a cemetery the first day and we're walking by, I know, weird things to do on vacation, but we love old cemeteries and like reading headstones and seeing when people were around in this place. Like if there's something from 1700s in this cemetery, that's sweet for us. Like it's so cool to see that this graveyard was around since then.
Do you stand at the foot of the gravestone and be like, you're old?
Yeah. No. It was all closed off, unfortunately. So we weren't able to walk around the graveyard, but we were able to like stand on behind the fence and just try to read as much as we could. But we're into haunted stuff. Like I haven't had any haunted things happen to me personally, but like I wanna believe something's there. Gina's all about it. So we get back and we go to dinner after that, and she pulls out her phone. And when she pulled out her phone's like, "Good job recording minutes today." And she's like, "It was kind of hot, so I guess I did record zone minutes today where my heart rate was elevated." And she looked at the app, and when we were right next to that graveyard, her heart rate skyrocketed to 180 beats per minute. And she's like, I wasn't even wearing it. Yeah, so her Fitbit just registered something with an elevated heart rate that she was on a long run during that time that we were right next to the graveyard. So I'm trying to come up with excuses for it. I'm like, okay, so maybe the sensor was next to the leather on her bag, and the leather might have had some skin characteristics where it's like your purse is hot. Maybe you have an elevated, and it just made guesstimates. So then I'm like, all right, let's forget about it. Whatever. It happened. But it was weird that it happened at the exact same time because it gives you bands. It was like 5 to 5:15 that it happened, and that's when we were there. So the next day we were walking around again. We went through the French Quarter. We went by that old jail, and then we went back to another cemetery and we're looking. And the same thing happened that day. From 6 to 6:15, you went on a run. And it's like, that's kind of weird.
It's the holiest place on earth.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, I didn't know about that either. We were walking around because we wanted to find a rooftop bar to go and just relax. And they're like, we don't really have, I mean, we have rooftop bars, but it's not like the 500 or
it's not
Patrick's
like Capo.
rooftop where you're up on top of 17 floors because you can't have a building there highest than the highest church. I didn't know that. I didn't know how old and religious that town is.
Dude, you're in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like nobody there seemed like it's a very new age population with old school rituals. It's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a new school vibe, but those same principles apply, which is amazing.
So you haven't been there?
I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I did a full state tour in like 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah, we went from Anderson, South Carolina to Charleston, and then worked our way back. So
For what?
I went down to South Carolina to see the boys.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then they were like, all right, we're going to go to Charleston and then work our entire way back across the state. And I was like, all right, sweet. So we started in Anderson, obviously went to Clemson, and then shot across, went to Charleston for the day, and then worked our way back. But, dude, end to end, it's like a 3-hour drive. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's super.
It's such a small state. So many people have misconceptions about how big the Carolinas are, etc. Like, there's so much to do, but it's not like it's going to really destroy your entire trip if you drive across the state.
Right.
At all. So I love Charleston. I think it's an amazing place. That's why there's a I know you guys aren't super into it, but there's a really nice seafood joint that's super famous. Like every major celebrity from here from like the 50s has gone there, and then they have pictures on the wall and they're all hand signed. It's really cool. Super good food. So we went there. Can't remember the place's name because this was a couple years ago. But yeah, when I was there and I was reading, you know how they have, it's almost like a Central Park. Well, it's kind of like a harbor section.
Yeah,
and then you just walk along the water. When I was doing that walk and then reading all the memorial things, because they have like the plaques, there was just like dolphins in the bay. I'm like, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it was super nice. Really, really cool city. But yeah, dude, I'm glad you went and traveled. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really sweet. It was a cool place. One of our things that we like to do too is find speakeasies.
Yeah.
There weren't any, which was kind of shocking that there weren't any. But I think that they were more, when you go to a place like that is such a, I don't want to say a party town, but a nightlife focused old school town, you get a lot of lounges and bars and like
Mambrinos?
Every bar is more of a lounge rather than like an actual going to the bar, you know? So they have one long bar on one side and the other side is full of booths, but it's just like a very casual environment anyway. It's not anything like punky or like partying like at all. So it was very hard to find any speakeasies. We went to one that was kind of stupid. Everyone was talking it up, so we went there. And you go there, you have to make a reservation, go talk to the actual restaurant that owns the speakeasy, and then they walk you to it. Basically, they just bought an extra room. There's no bartender in there. There's no nothing. And you walk in the room, you sit there, and when you want to drink, you flip a light switch. And I'm like, that's kind of defeats the whole purpose. Like the speakeasy is you go there, there's some dude that knows what he's doing to making your cocktails. The cocktail that I had was absolute trash, but there's a dude that makes your good cocktails, and then you can converse with them. Like it's a cool environment, like sitting down and understanding, talking to people. And this was just like, just go into this room, flip the light switch when you're ready, you're good to go. Like that's not really what I want. So then the next time we went to this French bakery this French restaurant that had a speakeasy in their basement. It was an old church or old bank, I'm sorry. And it's the only downstairs bar in Charleston. So you had to know where it is to get in. So that one was kind of cool. And the dude was talking to the bartender and how he can drive the golf ball like 350. I'm like, I don't think you can. But that was cool. It was a cool conversation. And then the next place we went to, the last one, was called the Gin Joint. And that wasn't a speakeasy. It was more of like a lounge place too. But what was cool with that is you give them adjectives and then they make your drink based off of that. So they give you a menu that has 10 adjectives on it. And you're like, I want peaty and sweet. And they're like, got you. And they just make whatever. So that was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
But yeah, overall, the trip was awesome. I loved the history of it. I would totally go back. We stayed at an Airbnb outside of the city, and we were very close to this breakfast place called Harbinger. If you ever go to Charleston, go to Harbinger. Amazing breakfast sandwiches. And they love their pimento cheese. That's the thing down there. I had so much pimento cheese, it was kind of disgusting. I have to detox myself a while from cheese, just because of how much cheese I ate. But it was amazing. I would totally go back. If I retire, I'm retiring there. It was a sweet place. I didn't see any golf courses, though, but we were in the city, so you wouldn't really see any.
Right. That's amazing. I'm happy for you.
It was fun. It was a good time.
First beep.
What did you do while I was gone? Anything?
Cried myself to sleep, and then, just kind of like waited for your name to appear on my phone. Didn't really happen.
That was the cool thing, too, about this vacation, is we put our phones down. We didn't do anything.
I know.
It was so nice.
I get it.
We read a lot.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah. I mean, nothing really, just work.
Yeah, you just worked.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Because you
wasn't
were gone.
it nice, though, to like not have to do podcast stuff for that week?
To an extent, I am obsessed with batch recording, though. It's such a load off because, dude, our works now are very intense. Mm-hmm. Like, what you do at work is insane. What I do at work is insane. And it's tough to be like, oh, that's right. It's Monday, 8 o'clock. Like, A, B, and C has to get done. So, because, I mean, at that point, we're like 2 hours into our workday. Wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's It's good. I'm just trying to think of like if anything really crazy happened, but nothing.
You did some podcast related stuff while we were just like setting up and getting some whiskey when I was gone, and you had a meeting with Tyler.
Yeah,
But
got
that's
things
just all
situated.
admin stuff.
Yeah, just back end stuff. Like got the basket situated for the Weedy event that's happening. We did a joint donation with Addie's and gifted them a basket for their 50-50 raffle. Had a meeting with Tyler to do different Wednesday Whiskey Review bottles, go over a event that we're going to be doing in the near future for a tasting event of the single barrel with Clonakilty. So if you're interested in that, keep an ear out, keep an ear on the ground, because there's going to be some details on that through Addie's, which we're excited for. Just a way to basically just keep promoting the bottle, keep moving the product, and then allow you guys to sample it with us, which was going to be really fun. But yeah, otherwise, just a lot of work. The yard work at my house is a zoo.
Yeah.
So it's finally starting to settle. So I just go out there every once in a while with a rake and just kind of like poke and play and move stuff and then just keep letting it sink because there's so much air under it. It's just finally working its way in, but it's a lot of dirt, a lot of clay. But grass is growing like a weed. So, yeah, I definitely need to. I mean, there's going to be a point where I just got to cut it.
Did you put chemicals on it yet or no?
It was treated once, yeah. It was just a fertilizer, just to start the season. So that took, and then it rained for like 5 straight days. So now my grass is like, hello, I'm here. And it's like super green, really lush, but yeah, it's wild. So just good stuff. I mean, I leave tomorrow for Connecticut, and then I come back Wednesday night. So batch recording today is nice, and then keeps that backlog nice and fresh. Hopefully I don't miss anything, but
No, you're fine.
just give me a reminder. Just a reminder.
I mean,
text, and then I
we're
can bang
pretty
it out.
efficient now at this point. We've got a lot of stuff scheduled.
Correct. Almost so much stuff scheduled that I get lost on like what's actually going live, which happened, but it's fine.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, everything is good on the home front for the weekly recap. The question for you that I have for today is, how long do you think we'll be able to fly without a mask before it gets like appealed or something?
Well, you can in New York. You can't fly without a mask in New York. So if you're flying...
Nobody's enforcing that, though.
Well, yeah, but you technically should be. I'm not saying I want to, but yeah, right. If you're flying from Charleston to Buffalo, you cannot wear your mask in the airport. You don't have to wear it on the plane going to Buffalo, but as soon as you land in Buffalo, you got to put your mask on. That's just stupid.
Yeah. I'm not doing that.
Biden's fighting it, but he's not going to be able to.
Oh, it's already overruled.
Yeah.
And it makes literally no sense. If I can go to a sporting event in a dome, like, it's just, dude, let's just move on.
Yeah.
It's all good, though. We'll make it work.
Everything down in Charleston, too, was like, we don't care about this at all.
No.
Like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I love that. I hate that New York is like this.
What is the nation's vaccination percentage?
If I had to guess, let's guess on it before you look it up. The nation's how many people in the country are vaccinated? I would have to say 82%.
Okay. 77.
Oh, okay.
So if 77% of the nation is vaccinated, at what point are we no longer afraid?
And the probably other 23% have already caught it, so they have natural immunity. And at this point,
time to move on.
And at this point, if you're not vaccinated and you die, like, I'm sorry to say,
I mean,
but
I felt that way in the very beginning.
yeah, but
Let
that's
alone
your
2 years
choice. You
after.
literally have every single option you have right now. You can get vaccinated. Omicron spreads like wildfire. Sorry, California, but Omicron spreads super fast. And if you haven't gotten Omicron and you're not vaccinated, I don't know what to tell you. But I shouldn't be masked up when I've had both and I've been vaccinated. I'm sure I've had COVID. And it's just why... At this point, why?
And
Why are
we're
we
not
still doing this?
and we're not 30. Like,
Right.
what are we doing? Anyways, Mike Tyson punched a dude in the face.
Dude, that was wild, right?
He
Did you
was
watch the
annoying
video?
me, Joe, so I punched him in the face.
He's so confusing.
Okay, for those that don't know, Mike Tyson's on a flight. There was a guy who was like drunk and nagging him for a photo. Mike kept telling him, he's like, chill, bro. Chill, bro. Didn't do it. So he turned around and he punched him in the face a few times. Bloodied him up. Moved on. Like, whatever. Well, apparently somebody caught it on their phone and turned it into TMZ. And that dude should get punched in the face multiple times. So don't piss. I'm going to piss off Mike Tyson in a closed environment. Good for you, Carl. You know, like, what are you doing?
It's natural selection for you.
Idiot. Correct.
Why would you push his buttons? You know the dude is probably super unstable in the first place, and he will kill you. Like, this isn't
Mike
like
Tyson.
It's not like you're bothering Anderson Cooper. You're bothering Mike friggin' Tyson.
Who is a Vanderbilt, he has Vanderbilt lineage.
Mike Tyson or Anderson
No,
Cooper?
Anderson Cooper.
What does that mean?
He's like from the Vanderbilt family.
Right, but yeah, I would bother him for sure.
No doubt.
More than I would bother Mike Tyson.
Correct. Just another useless fact about Anderson Cooper.
I was going to say, how does that tie in?
Oh, it doesn't at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
not at all.
that you were talking about Mike Tyson being Vanderbilt. I'm like, oh, well then.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, what? The guy's a moron. So I'm glad he got punched in the face. We need a little more of that. You know, a little more veracity in the world.
Why is it bad? Like, I understand why it's bad, but why is it bad?
Because these people got soft. That's what happened. The world is soft.
Are you not allowed to, like, if I tell you no, and you just bother me, what am I supposed to do?
Correct.
I'm on a plane. I can't get up and move.
Now let's go to the extreme. Okay? We'll go to the extreme. What if a girl says no to a man? And the man persists. And she punches him in the face. That's okay?
Good for you, girl.
Right. Girl power.
You get 'em.
That's totally okay.
Equality.
But if a dude says no to a dude, and the dude keeps persisting, and that dude gets punched in the face by the other dude, that's wrong, and we should be afraid. And what if it was a girl with Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey just destroyed her cranium, and she started leaking all over the plane?
What if it was a black dude bothering Jason Statham, and Jason Statham punched him in the face?
Right.
Then Jason Statham would be
Canceled.
exonerated from the entire Hollywood. Or did you see Mark Wahlberg's new movie?
No.
Mr. What is it?
Is it the same role he's always played his entire career?
No, kind of. He's a priest, I think.
Oh, not a cop. Okay.
No, he's a priest, and it's directed by Mel Gibson. It's supposed to be a very good movie.
Have you seen it?
No,
Okay, so why did this come up?
because we were talking about like heavyweight white men, and I think of Jason Statham and Mark Wahlberg. Because if one of them punched somebody, it would be all over. Like, at least it was Mike Tyson hitting a white guy, right? I mean, because if not, it would have been blown completely out of proportion. At least Mike Tyson has I don't know, he was bothering me. You know the dude has a short temper.
I mean, even regardless of race, don't piss. If you piss somebody off and they punch you in the mouth for being a pain in the ass, okay, you learned your lesson. Stop being a pain in the ass. Like, it's not, who cares? Last I checked, this is the real world. Like, the whole weak society thing is just unbelievably frustrating.
And it's not like he could have picked up and moved seats. I mean, it's a plane. It's a full plane. So,
Correct.
What do you want Mike Tyson to do?
Right.
Put headphones on?
Right.
The dude's just like tapping him on the top of his head.
I'm so over it.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm so over it.
Do you watch the Joe Rogan with Mike Tyson?
Part of it.
Those are so funny.
And then I
can
couldn't-
only do like 15 minutes because he's talking like this, Joe. And I'm like, I just can't do it.
Same. I really
I
can't.
feel so bad because I want to hear his story, but man, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it
tough.
was just a bunch of hookers and blow and then like wild tigers. Like, that's pretty much what his life was.
But like that's
And
such
a ton of
funny
chaos.
story.
Absolutely.
But he just talks like this, and I just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, kind of going back a couple weeks, the whole Will Smith thing is still going on. Do you think they're going to get a divorce? Will and Jada?
Why would they get divorced now? What's happening?
Everything, like, still fallout from that whole slap. Like, he's now banned from the Oscars for 10 years. Right?
Yeah, big whoop.
Yeah.
You're banned. Get off my property. Okay. I still won the award.
Yeah.
I'm still a gajillionaire. okay, I can't go to your fancy tea party. Give me a break. I hate Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, it's terrible and it's ruining everything. That's why.
So now
support the Daily Wire.
Jesus.
Going against Hollywood.
So now they're planning on getting divorced?
Yeah, I think so. That's at least the new talk. Is that they're not going to be a couple for much longer.
All right.
Which I'd be fine with.
Correct.
I mean, they didn't consult
I'm
me
not.
on it, but
I'm not gonna make the joke.
Do it.
No, it's really bad. So,
Let it in post.
do you think if they get divorced, her hair grows back? Okay, so
Jesus Christ. All right, see you guys later.
just take it out.
It is stress related.
Probably. I mean, anyways, we watched a trash TV show that was ridiculous. This is new in our world. It's 10 episodes, one season. Trash TV. So we finished The Sopranos, needed a rebound before we started Outlander. So there's a show on Netflix called Ultimatum. Horrible show premise, horrible human beings, and it's trash TV.
Is there anybody famous in there?
No. You and I are dating, okay? Let's just say you and I are
Well,
dating.
we know that, but what about the show?
Correct. So there's two other couples that are in this show. I want to get married, you don't. In our actual relationship, before the show starts. I give you an ultimatum. Either propose and say yes, or I break up with you and move on. So I gave you an ultimatum to basically force our relationship to the next step. All the other people in the show, the other couples, were each given ultimatums by their significant other. And it's not always the girls giving it to the guys.
Right, and it's not always marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's generally marriage.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's marriage. So what happens is they meet the other people and then say, okay, I feel like I have a connection with this person. I'm going to live with that person for 3 weeks.
Somebody else's significant other?
Yep, they're like a bunch of swingers. But they don't like do anything weird. So I'm gonna live with this person for 3 weeks and then see what it would be like to be with someone else outside of who I came on the show with. After those 3 weeks, I'm going to go back to the person that I came on the show with, my actual partner, and be with them for 3 weeks. At the end of that third week, because I learned so much through this experience, I will then answer your ultimatum question. Trash TV. Girls go insane. Guys are all over the place. It's a zoo. So we watch it.
Why?
Colleen likes trash TV where it's mindless. The issue was, by the second episode, I'm like, I gotta see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. By the fourth and fifth episode, I'm like, okay, I'm home from work now. Like, it's bad. It was bad. I'm like, put it on. Like, do the things, right? Like, I'm gonna go make a whiskey. So we finish this thing. Then there's a reunion. So I finish the show. Then I go to work, and I tell all the girls in the office to watch the show. So now they're all watching the show. And they come into work and they're like, Kelly, because they all call me by my last name. They're like, Kelly, what is happening? And I was like, what episode are you on? Because I'm like the first one there every morning because I got to get the cruise out. So I'm like looking at them and I'm like, where are you? And they're like, okay, Zay and Jay. And they just like dive into it. And I go, yes. So now we're all like, the whole office is watching the show.
Are any guys in the office watching it?
No. Well, first of all, there's only like 2 guys in the office. One is the GM of the company. He's not watching it. And then the other's the director of logistics. He's also not watching it. So it's just me and all the girls. Not the first time. So I'm walking around the office and they're all bugging me throughout the day. And then randomly, like 2 of them who do a lot of primary like computer work and not a lot of phone work, they have AirPods in. And I was just like, hey, I got a question for you about, this file, whatever. And they're just like, okay. They're like, I'm on episode 8 now. And they're listening to it. They're still actively working, but they're listening to the show because they have it on their phone. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, these people are crazy. I'm like, I know. So now it's like a full thing. So I recommend watching it.
How long are the episodes? Are they an hour?
like 40, 45 minutes, but it's just throw it in. It's like trash TV, and you're just like, these people, it makes you feel so good about your relationship because it's so extreme. Now there's like gossip blogs on the back end that me and the girls are like diving into to catch up about all these people post-show. It's real wild, dude. It's like this big web. Yeah.
What do you think about like those reality TV shows, like Real World and stuff like that?
Like
on MTV?
Real Housewives of Orange County and Beverly Hills?
I've never watched
Staten Island, New Jersey. Atlanta. Me neither. Then didn't watch any of them. Yeah. Anyways,
but like, yeah. So I guess like those shows, but those, I mean, they're all staged.
So, Ultimatum's different. The others are, but not staged, because to an extent, you really can't fully stage that much nonsense.
Yeah, it's not scripted.
Correct.
But it's staged. Like, all those dating shows, those all used to be staged.
Well, yeah,
like
the old
Next
school ones.
and stuff like that.
Well,
like
yeah, those are a joke. Yeah, that's
those were so funny, though.
Yeah, they were disasters.
You're 5'6", next.
So, Colleen watches all the Housewives. Orange County were my favorite because they were dumpster fires in the early seasons, but now it's just kind of like there's too much Botox. All the girls like changed, and I'm like, I can't really keep up. New Jersey's not terrible, but there's a bunch of off-camera things that happening where they're actual criminals for like fraud. And then
really?
When you get to that point in the show, then it's interesting. But leading up to it, it's just kind of like annoying. But those reunions are hysterical because they just scream at each other. And then they're all doctors. Like all the girls and all the husbands are doctors. But they're like doctors in different things, and that's a good show. But Colleen watches all these things, man. And then we just started Outlander, so we'll have like our show that we watch together, whether it's The Last Kingdom, Sopranos, Outlander, whatever. And then she still has her shows on the side, which is it's all Bravo TV.
It's all Bravo.
All of it's Bravo.
God bless her.
Yeah. So, and then she wakes up in the morning and crawls back into bed, and has her tea and her shake, and then watches Bravo TV. And then I'm getting out of the shower, and all I hear is, yeah. I'm like, I can't. And then I just go inside, and she's like, just like sipping her tea, and Sam's just laying there.
It's got to make you feel good about yourself, though, right? When you watch those. Because you're like, you're such a dumpster fire, and correct. My life is actually good.
Yeah, that and my house is quiet. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know how she does it that early in the morning.
No, that's got to be painful.
And she's like, oh, it's just mindless. I'm like, they're screaming at each other.
Right.
Like,
mindless
what do you mean?
Is The Office to me.
Yeah, Parks and Rec, Office, where you can just not even focus on it, but you know what's happening.
I'm trying to get Gina to, instead of watching Parks and Rec for the 475th time, to watch New Girl. It is our mindless show.
Yeah.
But that's, again, something that we have to pay attention to because we haven't watched it before. So that's something that we're going to start soon as something that we're done watching The Office and Parks and Rec, because I've literally watched it. When we finish Parks and Rec, we go to The Office. When we finish The Office, we go to Parks and Rec. Like, it's just a cycle of which show we're watching. We recently started watching Superstore. I think I told you about that a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and that's fun. But like, it's not super funny, so I'm not going to throw it in the cycle of Parks and Rec and The Office. But I need a new show to watch that's like 30 minutes. If it's like 8:30 and we want to watch something before we go to bed, throw that on for a half hour. Because throwing Peaky Blinders on for an hour isn't the best thing to do right before you go to sleep. Because my biggest pet peeve, and I tell Gina this all the time, I hate stopping because you're tired in the middle of an episode. It ruins it for me.
Oh, we don't stop mid-episode.
Gina does. If she gets too tired and she's like, I can't stay awake, I gotta turn it off. I'm like, well, then we shouldn't have just watched this episode then.
Let's
so
stop
before.
So it's a discussion where I can feel it. I can feel Colleen looking at me. She's like, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it? And I go, it's too late. And she crumbles. She's like, ah! I'm like, babe, it's 8:30. Like, I'm not going to watch Outlander when I literally am going to fall asleep in 30 minutes. Like, I'm not doing it. Absolutely not. Even if we could fit it in, I'm not doing it. It's too late. She's like, fine.
So, like, at that point, I would like a half-hour show that I could watch that is mindless, but I still have to pay attention because I know that we're not going to get through a full episode.
My default is Family Guy compilations on YouTube, Pat McAfee clips, catching up on certain like football news on
Gina
YouTube.
doesn't want to watch that.
But it's all you. Actually, Colleen's getting to a point where she's like, you can put on your football clips where it's like about a Deebo Samuel's trade and what's happening behind the scenes. And Peter Schrager comes on, Pat McAfee, and talks. And like she's into that, but she's also a football fan, which is why I married her.
Right.
One of the reasons. One of the like 40,000.
Only reason.
Basically.
But so we're going to start watching New Girl now.
You will love it, dude.
I'm excited.
It's such a good show.
It's over though, right? There's no more
Correct.
seasons? Yeah.
You are going to laugh so hard.
Good. I'm finally taking one of your recommendations.
You will watch it, and Schmidt will say something, and you will literally say, Mike has said that before.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which is weird, because when we first watched it, I was being asked by the other Derek for years, have you started New Girl yet? And it was still on TV. Have you started New Girl yet? And I was like, no. And he goes, you need to watch New Girl. I was like, why? He goes, there's a character who is you. It's you. And I go, okay, well, I'll get to it. I'm still watching, A, B, and C at the time. And he's like, okay. So I finally watch it. And I'm sitting there watching it. Schmidt goes off on, whatever, says his thing, his line. And I just look at Colleen, and Colleen pauses it multiple times throughout the entire show. And she's like, you've literally said that before. I was like, you can't write it. Like, I don't know. I'm Schmidt. It's so bad, but
You'll
Schmidt.
still always be Thad to me.
Thad
because
Schmidt
that's where-
and David from
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek.
'Cause I was watching Blue Mountain State when we first met, and you'll always be Thad to me.
You and everybody from 2010. Yes.
So what do you think of Outlander so far? Do you like it?
It's a slow start.
Yeah.
If anybody hasn't seen it yet, it is a good show. It's just a slow start. There's a lot of, like, we want to get into it, but it's just like, it has me for like 15 minutes, and then I zone out for 20. And I'm like, damn it. Like, I can't. But we're watching it. Like, we're just pushing through. It's getting there.
Well, are you still on season 1?
Yeah. We just watched like episode 5 or 6. So we'll watch. Well, now it's tough because I leave, right?
Yeah.
So we'll probably. Well, I don't know, because we got to go to. Her mom's in town from Syracuse.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing that, and then Colleen's sister just bought a house, so we're seeing the house for the first time. So I don't know if we're gonna be going home to watch it, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's a good show. Definitely a good show.
Yeah.
It's intriguing. It makes you want to travel. I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it makes you want to travel again. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited. This summer is going to be amazing. I'm juiced.
We have a lot of stuff coming. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do, because we are taking, I think we've said this a couple times before, but we're actually living it now. The whole Buffalo Happy Hour name, we'll talk about this during next week's episode, so please tune in. But the Buffalo Happy Hour name is more than just a podcast, and I'll leave it at there for today. So thank you all for joining. Appreciate your time today. If you are going to tune in next week, make sure you're subscribed, share the video with a friend, and let them know that we kind of do everything here. We're trying to bring light to everything Buffalo, whether that is any business that wants to be on our show. We talk to, we interview them. We can do any video production of that business just to continue to help to support small businesses any way that we can. We just released or recorded an episode with Weedy, which is the Westminster Economic Development Initiative. They're a nonprofit that are sweaters that we still do have some available. A portion of those proceeds go to that nonprofit. So if you are interested in buying any of those sweaters, you can email us or DM us through Instagram. We can create an invoice and send it to you. They're $50. Insanely comfortable. And when I say insanely comfortable, I mean insanely comfortable. I've never worn a sweatshirt that's been this comfortable. It's flowy, it's nice, it's not restrictive, it's amazing quality. So our friends over at Positive Approach helped us make them, and they're just a fantastic sweater. So if you want it, $50. Part of it goes to a good cause, which is Weedy, and their interview will be releasing soon, so you can hear their story. The 2 women that were on the show were absolute riots, and they have some cool events coming up. It would have happened when their interview releases, and they have another one coming up in the summertime. So if you do want to participate or be able to offer any of your services to this nonprofit, go check them out. It is www.weedybuffalo.org. You can look at all their events that are coming up and donate any of your time or money through that website. So thank you all for joining episode 136, 137, something like that. I don't even really know anymore. But cheers. Have a good rest of your day. And please remember, always drink responsibly. Be a good person. And Michael,
Do not litter.
we're out.